Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Swayam Rupa Gadam Dadati Swapnam Devam Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakam Shri Guru Vaishnavas Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Vipunatha Tam Sahivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Laliता Shri Vidyamse Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanande Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Namo Mahaganyai Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauravishena He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesh Vikakanta Shri Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hariye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadra Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Panchakalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरू दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरि ओम्. Let us begin with Isopanishad 10 today. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay. So, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyadevahurvidyaya, Anyadahuravidyaya, Itesho Shrumadhiranam, Yenastad Vichachakshire, Anyadevahurvidyaya, Nayadahuravidyaya, Itesho Shrumadhiranam, Yes, Yenastad Vichachakshire. The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is derived from the culture of science. But As advised in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12, one should culture knowledge in the following way. One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. Second, one should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. Third, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, by the actions of his mind, or by his words. Fourth, one should learn forbearance, even in the face of provocation from others. One should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. Sixth, one should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the stage of spiritual realization. And one must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. In order to approach the platform of self realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. Eighth, one must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. Nine, one should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self realization. 10. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. 11th, one should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his own. 12th, one should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of the miseries of the material body. The best course is to find out the means by which one can regain his spiritual identity. One should not be attached to more than the necessities of life required for self spiritual advancement. 14. One should not be attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures, more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures ordain. 15. One should not be happy or distressed over desirables and undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. 16. One should become an unallied devotee of the personality of God Sri Krishna and serve him with rapt attention. 17. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere favorable for spiritual culture. And one should avoid congested places where non devotees congregate. 18th, one should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body. These 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for these, all other methods are considered to be in the category of misscience. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great Acharya, maintained that all forms of material knowledge are merely external features of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them, one becomes no better than an ass. This same principle is found here in Shri Isopanishad. By the advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply being converted into an ass. Some materialistic politicians in spiritual guise declare the present system of civilization as satanic, but unfortunately, they do not care about the culture of real knowledge as it is described in Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they cannot change the satanic situation in the modern society. Even a boy thinks himself self sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Due to the wrong type of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders headache. Thus, Sri Isopanishad very strongly warns that the culture of the science is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers on the science only. Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. University students today are not given instructions in the regular principles of brahmacharya to celebrate student life, nor Do they have any faith in any scriptural injunctions? Religious principles are taught for the sake of name and fame only, and not for the sake of practical action. Thus, there is animosity not only in the social and political fields, but in the religion as well. Nationalism has developed in different parts of the world due to the cultivation of nescience by the general people. No one considers that this tiny earth is just a lump of matter floating in immeasurable space along with many other lumps. In comparison to the vastness of space, these material lumps are dust particles in the air. Because God has kindly made these lumps of matter complete in themselves, they're perfectly equipped with all the facilities, I mean, equipped with all the necessities for floating in space. The drivers of a spaceship may be very proud of their achievements, but they do not consider the supreme driver of these greater, more gigantic spaceships called as the planets. There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems also, as infinitesimal part and parcels of the Supreme God. We small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited planets. Thus, we take period birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. The span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years, although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 20 years. Thanks to the culture of nescience, befooled men have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these few years. There is another street also, but the street is not offered. Offered street was there, no yesterday. Yesterday का offered street ही रखा है वही. I was just reading of confused ना कर लें. Such foolish people drop various plans to render national demarcations perfectly, a task that is totally impossible. Yet, for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of a nation's energy is devoted to defense measures and thus spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge. Yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge. Sri Isopanishad warns us of this faulty type of education, and the Bhagavad Gita gives instructions as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that the instructions of Vidya, knowledge, must be acquired from a Dhira. Dhira is one who is not disturbed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. A Dhira realizes that the material body and the mind is acquired by chance, so the material association are but foreign elements, and therefore he simply makes the best use of a bad bargain. The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity. The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual sparks manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the part and parcels of the supreme living being who move the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles. To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and the regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in a hazardous way of nescient education. One can become a Dhira only by submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna, for example, became a Dhira by submissively hearing from Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead himself. Thus, the perfect disciple must be like Arjuna. The spiritual master must be as good as Lord Krishna himself. This is the process of learning Vidya, knowledge, from the Dhira, undisturbed. Srila Prabhupada describes the Dhira as a person who is undisturbed by the mental illusions. The mental world offers us unlimited illusions, waves and waves of illusions. Waves and waves of illusions. So there are primary illusions, secondary illusions, tertiary illusions, illusions on illusions, and so on. And the problem is, unfortunately, the modern day education and special advancement or culture of modern day world is very much focused on how to drown in this illusion faster and more deeper, as completely opposed to the objective and the directionality the Vedas are giving. That one should be unaffected from these mental illusions. But the modern day world is how do we know what to say of just being affected, how to be drowned in mental illusions. So therefore, as we see modern day life, the modern day culture of nescience, what it does is that it accelerates our misery. Already mental world is a miserable place. And the modern day culture of education, it simply accelerates that misery. That's all that it contributes to. Like Radheshyam always says, no, we have discovered all these weapons. Here also Prabhupada mentioning 50% of the money people, countries are spending in defense. So that may be Prabhupada 10, but I had heard a quote of, I saw a quote of a Nobel laureate which says 90%. No, no, he says 90% of scientific research is based on consumerism and warfare. Research, he speaks about research. 90% of research. So 50% money they are spending, most of the research endeavor they're spending on warfare and consumerism. So warfare is about accelerating death, and consumerism is about accelerating illusion. That's all. So Raishima says with all these modern day weapons, we can only fasten the process of death. Can we slow down the process of death? That's not possible. Can we increase the duration of lifespan? That's not possible. Now you see the point is this, that where the culture is nescience, it is not easy to uphold the practices of Krishna consciousness. So the culture around is nescience. One is bound to get affected by it. So therefore, unless we create a very spiritually vibrant culture, it becomes difficult to uphold the practices of Krishna consciousness. Srimad Bhagavatam, the third canto, mentions about the prominent illusions prevailing in this world. So we're talking about, or before we go into the illusions mentioned in the third canto, the point is that unless there is spiritually vibrant setup, it becomes very difficult to uphold the spiritual practices. Because spiritually, materially affected ambience acts as a slow poison, and slowly it poisons us. So we see that, and therefore Srila Prabhupada stresses on that fact that a devotee should feel. So when we say that, okay, one should get disgusted with this material world, what is the disgusting place? Hopeless place. Not that anything saturated and nice, you know. No, I should be disgusted with this place. So unless this attitude of disgust comes, one will not endeavor to get out of this world. That is the point. So therefore, this consciousness is important, that I do not belong to this world. I have nothing to give and take with this world. I have nothing to give and take with this world. So not that we start feeling a sense of belonging, a sense of identification in this world. That is the poison. That is the poison. The nescience enters our body when we start feeling identification. That's it. When you start feeling a belonging to it, oh, this is not so bad. It's okay, I can try it. When one feels like that, the poison starts entering inside. Just like uh, sometimes people show movies about Prabhupada speaking about nationalism and how people have created such an illusory concept called as nationalism. This is my boundary. Nobody else can set this boundary. Prabhupada sometimes say, just like dogs urinate and make a boundary, that this is my area. Anybody comes in that area, they start barking. Many times the migrations work like that. Why are you coming in my area? So these are all man-made illusory boundaries. And then one is saying, okay, live for the nation, die for the nation. And Papa is saying that, okay, then the nation is creating disturbance for the whole world, other nations and all that. So just like sometimes they may show some movie on nationalism and they may show that, okay, here is some army spy or something like that. And then this candidate, he goes to the enemy's country. And this fellow is moving around in that enemy's country and he's talking, he's walking. No. But 24 hours he has that consciousness, I belong to the opponent country. I don't have to mix up with the people here. I don't have to gel with the people here. I don't have to uh, make some heart-to-heart connections here. He just focused on, so he just connected to his own base and executing his own plans of his country, of whatever, and rivalry to the opponent country. So this is called as identification. And it doesn't identify at all. So one is most alert, most attentive. Like in the same way, it's and I say this game of kabaddi also. The person goes to the side of the opposite team. The person is not very casual and cozy. The person is very fearful, very much in anxiety, very much alert, very much. So he just wants to touch and run back. Just wants to run back. So that means the person with great difficulty he will take one step forward. Evaluating all parameters, everything one step forward. Like that. One step forward, one step forward. I don't know why they chant kabaddi kabaddi. They would have chanted Hare Krishna, they would have got some spiritual advancement playing that game. But they're chanting kabaddi kabaddi, unfortunately. So but you see, this fellow is very attentive. And he's chanting his mundane name. Very attentive, very attentive. Any uh, any movement by any of the opponent players, immediately he wants to swerve back and run back. The other person just not wanting to do something, he just started moving, and this fellow is back in his board, like that. Because doesn't want to get caught like that. With the great So this is identification. He does not also, oh, after all, these are also fellow. No? So similarly, when a devotee is among the non-devotees, the devotee is also like that. In the middle world, we are also playing this kabaddi game. And all the soldiers of the Maya's party, they have only one mission: to catch us in such a way that we cannot touch the line of the culture of Krishna consciousness. Like that. Everything in Maya. That is what it is said. Radhan Maharaj was saying, don't flirt with Maya. You don't dare flirt with Maya because it's a game of kabaddi going on. So in kabaddi, they chant a mundane mantra, but we have a proper mantra to chant while we are there in this world. So therefore, Kirtaniya Sadahari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, like that, one has to be very attentive. What input signals are coming? What am I taking inside my head? What am I watching? What am I talking about? Who? What am I getting influenced by? And any big wave of Maya we perceive, immediately one has to run back. Krishna, go to sleep, cry and pray. The problem is we take the culture of nescience very casually. And then a person is thinking, oh, yeah, I'm chanting 16 rounds for 20 years, nothing much is happening. While driving, if you are pressing accelerator and brake at the same time, what will happen? What will happen? Who knows driving? Ever? No. If you press accelerator and brake at the same time, what will happen?
Wheels will just rotate.
The vehicle will rotate, huh?
Wheels, bro. Nothing, nothing.
We try it out, see what happens. Nothing will happen, huh? That's the same. It will rotate. That is scooty, you say. Back brake. So you see the point, it won't function normal at least. That is what I understand. So, so many times as devotees, and so you see how the vehicle behaves when we press both together. We are all confused about it. How our body mind will behave when we do sense gratification and Krishna consciousness at the same time, and how much confused now our the vehicles of our material body and mind will be. We can just imagine. And therefore, people keep putting, oh, I'm in Krishna consciousness, I'm a devotee, but what's happening? Devotional service is not working. Are you are not working. I mean, so one is not working towards, one cannot be working towards both the fronts, the science and knowledge. One has to leave the footing on the science to be able to gain momentum in the culture of knowledge. Asha Prabhupada says sense gratification and Krishna consciousness go ill together. So the culture of Krishna consciousness, therefore it is said that tapasya navihi tapodivyam putraka in sattvam shuddheti asmat brahmasakyam tvananta. We hear of that. The austerity, the tapasya. The other day we were reading Srila Prabhupada giving a nice definition of tapasya. Prabhupada said, what is tapasya? So Prabhupada is saying that okay, intelligence means to voluntarily place ourselves in the control of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, see, that is tapasya. The living entity has to be controlled either by the mental energy or by Krishna. So the jiva with its minute intelligence, an intelligent jiva understands that when I place myself in the control of Maya, Maya makes a pulverized paste out of me. It crushes me like anything. It becomes a pulverized chutney. So let me not be let me not situate myself as in the control of Maya Shakti, but let me place myself in the control of Krishna. And Krishna, I have been battered by Maya, the waves of Maya are crushing me, trastosmiham, vanavatsala, dussaha udra. Bhavamaru prakhanna, klesham madhyatajami. Bhavamaru. संसाराखे जलधि महतो धारावर्ता तनया सहजा गृह संघा कुलेचा. Kulshekar Maharaj is telling that all these affairs of material world, they are so entangled. So the situation is very gruesome. Why? Because everywhere there are sharks and timingalas ready to devour us, and these come by the name of relatives, friends, family members, wife, children, society, and so on. But actually, they act as sharks and timingalas. Okay, Shambro is saying that Prabhupada said reading his book 6 hours a day is the austerity. Okay, so 6 hours a day. No? So, well, this is very nice. Hmm? So, do morning program for 6 hours, read Prabhupada books for 6 hours, and do deity worship 6 times, six offerings, six worships. Again, read Prabhupada book 6 hours. Again, then go for preaching for 6 hours. After that, will we have 6 hours remaining for sleeping? Huh? A very nice life. Huh? So, uh, so very nice life. Hmm? So that's right. So, but Prabhupada emphasize at least 1 hour of his books every day. At least 1 hour. Just like Prabhupada said that okay, 64 rounds are basically required, but then he said okay, at least 16. So at least Prabhupada said 1 hour every day. At what scale we can read 1 hour every day? Today? Today means like students, so that we don't recommend what scale. Oh, as soon as one passes out, one can read. And I passed out, Shri Guru Chandpur told me that now 3.5 is not enough. You have to read 5 hours a week minimum. I said, Prabhuji, everybody is telling there is so much hectic software and all that, and you have to know, and I have to enter this software and all. He said that I don't want to hear excuses. I told you 5 hours, and now you decide with your seriousness what you want to do. So I understood. Was that was one thing what Shri Guru Chandpur told me. Another thing what Acharya told me, he said, okay, you read software, it's a real estate, all the best. Uh, So it'll be hectic, it'll be taxing and all that. Follow one thing. I said, okay, I'll follow. What is that? He said, finish your 16 rounds and then go for work. I said, Rabu, our work reporting time is 8 a.m. He said, you know what you have to do, you know? So I said, okay. So they're very nice spiritual principles. See, this is the Pasya. The whole point is that. So, so unless we, so we see material world is very expert in grilling us up towards the material domain. And we think, oh, it's an emergency. Oh, it's a serious situation. So and then one thinks like now giving full on to the mental energy and things like postponing the spiritual life. But that is accepting and adopting. You know, we embrace the culture of nescience, and then and then it doesn't leave us. You know, like a cancer spreads all over the body and mind. So this culture of nescience is very deadly. It acts like cyanide. It acts like a poison. Similarly, we cannot embrace a Russell's viper and then say, "Arey, what is happening? You know, why whole my body is trembling? You know, why everything is going out of control? Arey, you are embracing a Russell's viper and then you're saying why wrong things are happening in my life." So cultural science is like that, very dangerous. We have ourselves made our lives so complicated, so entangled. Hmm. Giving priority to anything other than Krishna is nescience. The modern day world, what is being taught is that okay, give priority to everything else other than Krishna. So you see, the whole point is that therefore Sri Bhakti said, Maharaj is saying Krishna consciousness cannot wait. But all material algorithms say Krishna consciousness, let us put it to wait. The student life thinking, one is thinking, oh my, I'm student, you know, how can I give a full on gear to spiritual life? I have my job, I have so much loan, I have so many sisters to get married, I have so many commitments and all that. So let Krishna consciousness wait. When you come in job, then you feel, okay, I have not established, I'm just a new man. They can throw me off anytime. Let me get some footing, let me get some good resume, let me get some uh, a good appreciation for the work I'm doing. Let me some stability, then I can take up. Or then person thinks, okay, maybe let me get married. As soon as the person is married, the person thinks, oh, let me settle down. You know, it's too much hustle bustle. You know, and what settle down? After a few years, some child comes. You know, so another one comes. No, and then the children are growing. So from innocence to arrogance, from ignorance to full on contamination. You know, and then one has to handle all that. And so so you see where life goes towards stabilization. The living entity thinks that let my life stabilize a bit, but where does life stabilize? Where does it stabilize? When does it stabilize? It actually never stabilizes. One day, a newcomer is in anxiety that I will lose my job because I'm a newbody and I don't know anything. But even a person who's 20, 25 years experience, this fellow is also is in anxiety that I will be thrown out of job. So that means the system itself is very nasty because it doesn't take one towards stabilization only. What to say of an employee? Even the CEO is in anxiety because he doesn't know whether his company will go on for long or not. So the point is that now we can do something provided we go somewhere and reach somewhere. If we are at the same place still, what is the point in endeavoring? The new person, now zero experience and 25, 30 years experience, if both are in a similar kind of anxiety situation, that means that integral of 30 years worth of work, what good it is for. But that anxiety remains the same. So we see even our devotee communities, our devotee go through so much of financial anxieties and all that. But actually, all these financial problems can be very easily solved. What the easy solution? You see, Nadmani gave this easy solution to Mrigari. Nadmani said, you don't have to do anything. You just sit down, chant Hare Krishna, worship the Lord. That's it. So every ISKCON devotee, what he or she is supposed to do is just sit down. Wherever one is, whatever no, whatever house, whatever room, one just sit down, open the doors, get a deity, and start doing Sankirtan. You just start practicing Krishna consciousness, and money will come. If you want to serve Krishna, money will come. But if you want to do sense gratification, money will not come. Or you want money for ourselves, money will not come. Or it comes and fizzles off. But you want to serve Krishna, money will come. And then we become corrupt, then money will not come. Or our scam will be exposed and will be hanged. No? So this is the point. We have to understand the law of financial flow. People talk about economics, but they are all discussing some bogus superficial concepts. The main causal concept has to be understood. What is this mumbo jumbo superficial concepts? No? The law of financial flow is that the flow happens where there is selflessness of heart. When there is selfishness of heart, the flow doesn't happen, the flow gets choked up. That is the point. The flow of finances happen when there is selflessness of heart. Investment and growth strategy takes place. What is the investment and growth strategy? The investment and growth strategy is sense control, not higher salary. People think higher salary is no. The investment growth strategy is sense control, mind and sense control. For that, one doesn't have to increase one's working hour in the company. One has to increase one rounds. Sense control. One has to increase one's Bhagavatam study. Shampoo is recommending 6 hours. At least we can start with 6 hours a week. शिशुताय शांत घोर शांत भगवान की श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुदर्शन महाराज श्री Prabhupada की Ego. So at least we can start with 6 hours. You see the point. So we are not. What are we learning? That means we are learning all precepts and concepts of ignorance. What is our economics all about? That's why Srila Prabhupada talks about that, okay, all this economic development, all that game of economic development, it is simply a hoax. Because what economics we are talking about? The most bona fide and authorized professor of economics is Mother Lakshmi herself. We have to learn from her. So Mother Earth is saying when there is devotion in the hearts of people, then I supply resources. And when people are atheistic, materialistic, I don't want to supply resources. Mother Earth is talking about that. People are demoniac, I don't want to. Similarly, the Shastras are describing that Mother Lakshmi is Chanchala. So she doesn't stay in anyone's hand. But whose hand she will stay? Yeah, if he, wherever there is Lord Narayan, then Mother Lakshmi will stay there. So these are very foundational principles. And mind foundational principles means they should be in everything, in all our decisions, in all our interpretations, in all our compilations. These foundational principles should be there. You see, our lusty mind, what it does is that lusty intelligence, lusty mind, what it does is that it simply smells a poison inside. Just like sometimes they used to show in movies, some mafias, what they would do is that, so they would be transporting, suppose, cartons of some luggage. And in the carton, the first layer in the carton will be some biscuit packets or something. Some, suppose, some biscuit packet like that. And down there will be these intoxicant drugs, something like that. And they are smuggling, like that. So people are thinking, okay, biscuits are coming, huh? And it is not biscuit, it is poison, it's death which is coming, not biscuit. So it's smuggling. The same way, what is done is that, you see, our life becomes something like that. The top layer of, so the mind will say, okay, you are wearing dhoti kurta, you have taken tilak, you have got initiated, you have become His grace. No? So that's okay. Now you can relax. A little bit is fine, little bit of this is fine, little bit of that is fine, little bit of that is fine. And then we will see whole carton of our life activities. There is nowhere Krishna consciousness. Only the external film is like the biscuit packet up. Bottom is all sense gratification. Where is Krishna consciousness? You see, when one is chanting, one's mind is still hooked to material life, and one is thinking, oh, if my job thing gets sorted out, my child thing can get sorted out, my this will get sorted out, let me get a land, let me get bank balance, this, that. Where, where are we going? So if the chanting of the holy name, the mindset is okay, the attitude and mindset of Krishna, please sort out my material affairs so that I can be a bit more peaceful. So then it's a very dangerous predicament. So we see that this culture of nescience is very, very deep rooted and very, very dangerous. Okay, I was showing you the third canto. Let me show you the third canto. See what is ignorance all about. So we have to be very, very careful. We don't enhance or feed these ignorance. It comes in, say, really, quite short and what is the lectures on that? We want Bhagavad third canto, creation. See this 3:12:2. So Brahmaji, he says this is 3:12:2. So sir, okay, sir, ससर जग्रे अंधतमिश्रम अथातमिश्रम आदिकृत महामोहम च मोहम च तमश्च अज्ञानवृत्तया. So you see, Brahmaji first created nascent engagements like self-deception, Datamishram, Tamishram, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. So this assigned engagement, the self-deception. Person is not sure only whether it is the science or whether it is culture or knowledge or science. Sometimes people, like sometimes one associates with devotees. One says, okay, associate with devotees. But what exactly they are associating for? Sometimes like sometimes one may approach a sadhu and may say, sadhu, okay, please bless my daughter, please bless my business, please bless my whole family, my dynasty, so uh, my son can have a business, my business can grow, let us have good health and all that. Sadhu, please give your ashirwad, that people feel, Okay, let's invite Sadhu, let's feed the Sadhu, let's get him to our house, let's have some Krishna Katha. For what? So that everything becomes auspicious. But what are we asking? Are we asking knowledge or are we asking science? So self-deception. The person himself is confused what he's doing. Like that. So sometimes you see, sometimes people start coming to the temple, and they start coming to the temple, and then they're the temple very easily one can get prasad. So one is taking prasad, prasad, prasad. But when it comes to donation, the mind is not ringing. They do, what I'm taking, I should donate 10 times more than that. Not that we take 10 times in and we donate 100 rupees, like that. So you see, similarly, sometimes there are some other devotees they join the temple, and they join the temple. Then they are in charge of the various departments. They have finances, various financial amounts under their control, and people start becoming very lavish. People start becoming very lavish. They just draining the money down the drain, becoming very, very lavish and very, very cozy. So what are we up to? Is this knowledge or is this a science? So self-deception, you see. They say the sense of death. See, the sense of death is also another very big problem because Maya always shows that okay, this gratification which is coming in your life, this is very rare. Now you have it, tomorrow it will not come. Mind it. So this is Maya, you see. Now you have it, tomorrow it will not come. So better you take it now. So sometimes the brahmachari is sitting in the ashram and the brahmachari is thinking, hey, I am now 35. Still there is time, I can experience married life, maybe, I can also roam around in a car with a beautiful lady, it's a very cute children and all that, I can also wear some suit boot and, I can walk around, like that. And so now still time, hey, I'm 36, I'm 37, still there is some chance, After that, who's going to marry, I'll become old man, so like that. So, so person is, see, this is how Maya is. This is what is called a sense of death. That okay, that you have finite time, and then you will not get opportunity again. Person is thinking, oh, I have access to Govinda now. If I don't, eat tomorrow, my department will be changed. I may not be having some, like that. Oh, I'm having this department now. There are some funds which I am able to see. Maybe tomorrow this funds will not be there. Let me get a car for myself. No, oh, getting some opportunity, Some remote fellow whom I preached to has reached in US, is inviting me, let me go for, so I'll become international preacher. Tomorrow that opportunity will not come, So people are thinking like that, you see. So this is very nice, very nonsensical, because this is the culture of the science. Similarly, girls are thinking, girls may get pushed to do things that, oh, I'm just 40. I can still learn, I'm still young. Maybe a little more money at the hand will be very good. A little more security at the hand will be very good. A little more land at the hand will be very good. A little more investments will be very good. A little more shares will be very good. A little more and 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 a little more. Where does it end? This is how illusion. The science. This is how the science. Maya always wants to put us in a state of insecurity, and then insecurity one gets, no? And the other ignorance is a false ego. False ego. Anger after frustration. Mind it, anger shuts down the intelligence. So person not able to think. So when we have self-gratificated desires, we are bound to get frustrated. When we get frustrated, we become angry. क्या है? Devotee है उसमें. प्रसाद भी खाने का नहीं होता है. So we cannot eat good prasad also. Prasad is there, but by the time I come back for service, all everything is gone. Only rice dal is there. Now what will I do with the rice dal? So you see the point. It's a bit dangerous. The anger is very dangerous. The anger shuts down one's intelligence. So we have to be very careful what feeds these five things and what star these five. So any activity which feeds these five things is a science. And the culture of knowledge is all about starving these five domains of ignorance. So let's stop here for today. Hey, Bob. So, what is the difference between intelligence means being an opportunist and then planning for future in the sense that the services increase, not in the sense of bigger plan terms of how should be there, but in terms of increase of services and means Not, I mean, like the example like not acting. Suppose one has a opportunity now, if you can catch it up and you get that, then you can add that dimension of service. But if you does not do that, that is ignorance. That is not this. Yeah. How do we differentiate what is service and what is not? Yeah. Yes, sir. Like what is not proactive behavior or not with regard to service? Yeah. So devotees opportunists, we have to understand what are we getting excited by. One has to contemplate introspect to see what one is getting ignited by. Is it the name and fame which is coming from a, which could can come from a service, or one is just happy serving? That is something what we have to. So the motivations have to be checked actually. So that is why it is said that uh, one should always try to take the role of aggressive one should always do good upon the menial services because it keeps a level head. With a level head, we'll be able to decide better what is service, what is not service, which service to take up, which not to take up. So that way. So uh, so that is why we need to have very solid morning program. That is why we need to hear from. So you see here what is being said. The culture of knowledge can only be heard by Dhira. So when we are submissive to a Dhira, then by the blessings of the Dhira Purusha, uh, we are having the vision, will be able to discriminate that, you know, where am I going? I'm going for service, I'm going for name, fame, glory. That is the idea. Whether I'm going for service or I'm going for name, fame, glory, will be able to see that. And that is a submission is a very important quality in spiritual life. Because the Krishna consciousness is a foolproof process, a foolproof process. Because even one has got some ideas which are a little off track. If one is submissive to the association of devotees, one of one's off track ideas will be exposed very fast. So this is the point which you have to evaluate. So that's why a sadhaka has to be in a very proper frame of consciousness. Otherwise, the moment our consciousness goes low, oh, one loses the discrimination power, and then one may think that I'm doing something for the service only, but one may be actually driving purely for the cause. That's the point. And that is why a devotee is always prayerful. You see, a devotee is always submissive. You know why? Because always submissive. Why? Because the devotee understand that if I remain by myself, I may get blown off anytime. A devotee is always submissive, always prayerful, and always busy in service because the devotee understand it. Arey, I don't have the strength to handle Maya. Let me keep doing some service and never mind what the service. So we should not try to cut corners in service. One should so this is the point. Hari Bol, Shri Shubhri Shakti Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki